Hello there, very good evening and a warm welcome to the news live on Rupavahini Channel I. I'm Sharon Mascarenhas.
Good evening, I'm Clifford Richards. First of all, we take a look at the headlines.
The largest stockpile of firearms stashed away by an organized crimes gang seized by the Special Task Force. The President instructs central bank officials to address the issues faced by the depositors of ETI and their finance. The first stage of reopening schools commenced today. The Premier states that the government has always acted to protect the respect of the Muslim community. 1,217 individuals found violating the face mask health guideline, subjected to self-quarantine. The ruling party of Poland secures victory in the first round of the presidential election.
And now move on to the stories in detail. The police special task force today arrested 2 suspects with 12 firearms hidden in a shop at Pitipana in Omagama. This find is said to be the largest stash of weapons uncovered from the possession and underworld gang. The stash of weapons were discovered upon information elicited when scrutinizing a resident aged 38 from the Karulagaspiti area of Migoda. Information was also surfaced that these weapons were transported to the shop from a different location several months ago by the individual under inspection. Thereby, the police special task force inspected the shop at the Morgahene area at Pitipana, where the weapons were hidden, and seized them. The individual arrested upon suspicion is known in the area by the alias Potta Kapila. The owner of the shop has also been arrested by the police. The police special task force states that this Potta Kapila is connected with the incidents pertaining to the attempted robbery on a jewelry shop in Matara and the murder of a police constable. He is reported to have been imprisoned and released on bail. Weapons discovered include 11 T-56 firearms and a T-81 firearm. The weapons were inspected by commander of this Police Special Task Force, DIG Varuna Jayasundara. The Police Special Task Force states that it is believed that these weapons have been used in major robberies, drug smuggling and murder contracts. Investigations are underway to ascertain as to what crimes were committed. The current investigations have reportedly been tasked with the CID.
In other local news, leader of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapakse says that his government has always acted to protect the respect of the Muslim community. The Premier expressed this comment at the Muslim conference of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna today. Upon arriving at the venue, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapakse was warmly welcomed by the Muslim community. Candidates contesting from the Colombo district under the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna were also present. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapakse said that they took steps to protect the rights and the respect of the Muslim community. He further stated that they delivered the Muslim community from the LTTE. He added that his government fought the terrorists not on behalf of just one ethnicity, and now anyone can freely travel to Jaffna or Hambantota. Therefore, the Premier stated that the Muslim community need not have any doubts in joining hands with him. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapakse further stated that an impression is being created that his party separates and does not look into matters. He stated that such notions are fake and also stated that he is confident that the Muslim votes will be received by his party at this election. The Premier also stated that it was possible to control the COVID-19 epidemic since President Gotabaya Rajapakse took straight decisions. Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapakse stated that the entire honour of controlling the corona epidemic goes to the President Gotabaya Rajapakse, since it is as a result of the decisions taken by the President that it was possible to control the epidemic. The Premier stated that deploying the army at the right time, the Health Ministry was strengthened. Prime Minister Rajapakse added that everyone should get together to build the country by voting for the party of the President.
මේ දෙකොල්ලෝ එක්ක වෙන්න ඕන රටක් ඉදිරියට යන්න. දැන් සජිත් නම් කියනවා මටත් පුළුවන් ගෝඨාභයත් එක්ක වැඩ කරන්න කියලා. එහෙම ගිය තමයි ඇවිදින්නේ. ඉතින් ඒකෙම පේනවා ගෝඨාභයෙන් ජනාධිපතිවරයා ජයග්‍රහණය කරවපු එක මේ රටේ ජනතාව කරපු හරි ක්‍රියාවක් කියලා.
President Gotabaya Rajapakse has instructed central bank officials to seek legal advice with regard to ETI and the finance and grant redress to the depositors. The president gave these instructions at a discussion held at the Presidential Secretariat this afternoon. Well, this discussion was held to inquire into the procedure of settling payments due to the depositors and of ETI and the finance. A presidential commission has been appointed to inquire into the transactions of ETI, and the steps taken by the central bank in this regard were taken up for discussion. At the discussion, the president stated that the future measures need to be monitored by a committee comprising representatives of the president's office, the central bank and the treasury and the depositors. Under the first stage, payments for depositors who held deposits less than 600,000 rupees at both institutions are being disbursed. The president emphasized that the dues of the other depositors also need to be settled even if all properties of both institutions need to be acquired. Central Bank Governor Professor W.D. Lakshman stated that at the next Monetary Board meeting, public complaints and grievances will be inquired into and steps will be taken to provide maximum solutions. The president stated that the monies due to the people will be paid by identifying and acquiring the properties of ETI and their finance without filing lawsuits. The president also stated that stern action will be taken against individuals who default in the repayments of their loans and obtained from financial institutions. The discussion was also attended by Presidential Secretary P.B. Jayasundara and Secretary of the Ministry of Finance S.R. Artigala.
ජනාධිපතිවරයා වශයෙන් මට තියෙන්නේ මේ තියෙන තත්ත්වය අනුව වැඩි දෙනෙකුට වැඩි සහනයක් ලබා දෙන ක්‍රමයකට යන්නයි නැත්නම් තවත්
President Gotabaya Rajapakse said that these monies are withdrawn and properties are purchased, resulting in the organizations ultimately collapsing, and thereafter when solutions are sought, it comes to light that an entire lifetime of comforts has been enjoyed at the expense of depositors. He further stated that given the situation now, as the president, he has to focus on a method that grants more relief to more depositors, otherwise the situation would deteriorate. The president further stated that he cannot become a responsible party in this case and hear allegations after many years that he plunged the economy of the country into difficulty. President Gotabaya Rajapakse stated that proper individuals and procedures are needed for such processes. He further stated that just because there is a free economy and if those responsible are allowing such entities to function freely, the public are inconvenienced by several such entities. The president stated that the central bank should quickly implement a new method that prevents financial institutions from inconveniencing the public. The president observed that when financial institutions advertise that they pay higher interests on deposits, the public tend to deposit more. The president questioned whether it is possible to pay an interest of 35% after advertising such a figure. In conclusion, the president stated that the first concession must be granted to the depositors and next they can consider what should be implemented to rebuild these collapsed institutions.
සහනයක් ලබා දීලා ඊළඟට අපි බලමු කොහොමද මේ වගේ ආයතනයක් නැවත ගොඩ ගන්නව නම් කොහොමද ක්‍රියාත්මක කරන්න කියන එක. ඒකත් ඔබතුමාලා උපදෙස් දෙන්නකෝ අපිට.
Schools, after remaining closed for over 3 months, were reopened under the first stage today. However, the Ministry of Education had notified that the attendance of students was not necessary today. The attendance of the teachers was reportedly satisfactory throughout the island. Due to the spread of the COVID-19 virus, all schools remain closed since the 13th of March. Today, the principals, vice principals, tutorial staff, school management boards and non-academic staff reported for duty. The cleaning and disinfection of school premises and the tasks to be carried out for schools to reopen under the first stage, such as the preparation of timetables, took place today. Minister of Education Dalasala Peramuna conducted an observation visit of the Maldives Boys School Nugegoda, Anula Vidyalaya and the Tamil Mahavidyalaya today. The minister focused on cleanliness in the school premises, maintain upon adherence to the health guidelines and sanitation. The minister said that as the subject minister, he is humbly proud since within the school network, students, teachers, principals and non-academic staff members did not contract the epidemic. The minister noted that curfew was lifted completely with effect from midnight yesterday and said that this is a sign that shows that the country is calm. Minister Peramuna further stated that next Monday, the school bells of all schools will start ringing again and will indicate that the country is secure. The minister, however, cautioned the students against taking the situation lightly. He advised the students and the parents to focus on health guidelines in school and at home.
සීනුවේ නාදය තමයි රටේ සුරක්ෂිතභාවය පිළිබඳව නැගෙන නාදය. රට සුරක්ෂිතයි. හැබැයි සුරක්ෂිතභාවය මෙතන ඉක්මනින් සැහැල්ලු කරගන්න එපා. ඒ විශේෂයෙන්ම දරුවන්ගේ සෞඛ්‍ය සම්බන්ධයෙන්, සෞඛ්‍ය පුරුදු සම්බන්ධයෙන් අපි පාසල ඇතුලේ, නිවස ඇතුලේ දෙමව්පියෝ වඩා සැලකිලිමත් වෙන්නට ඕනේ කියලා කියන ඉල්ලීම මම මේ අවස්ථාවේ හැම දෙමව්පියන්ගෙන්ම කරන්න කැමතියි.
Meanwhile, under the patronage of the president of Litrogas, Anil Koswata, face masks, hand gloves and disinfectants were provided to the principals of Visakha Vidyalaya and Sirimao Bandaranaike Vidyalaya today. Under the second stage, schools will reopen on the 6th of next month and students of grades 5, 11 and 13 need to attend school. Under the third stage, which will be effective from the 20th of next month, grades 10 and 12 will recommence classes. In the fourth stage, which will commence from the 27th of next month, schools will reopen for the students of grades 3, 4, 6, 7, 8 and 9. The Ministry of Education states that the date on which classes would recommence for students of grades 1 and 2 will be notified later.
Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapakse has instructed the Urban Development Authority to transform the palace premises of the ancient Kurunegala Kingdom into a museum. The structure dates back to the 14th century AD. The cost estimated for the overall plan is 350 million rupees. 4 kings have ruled the Kurunegala Kingdom, and archaeological evidence states that the kings ruled from this palace. The office of the Northwestern Provincial Governor is being maintained in a 200-year-old building constructed by the British in this premises. An information centre on historical details of the Kurunegala Kingdom will also be set up in the premises. The ruins of the ancient temple of the tooth relic of the Kurunegala Kingdom can also be seen here. The King's Era footpath leading from the palace premises to Atugala will also be reconstructed. The archaeological and the architectural plans on transforming the premises into a museum have already been prepared. The project will be implemented by the Urban Development Authority under the full supervision of the Department of Archaeology. The Premier instructed for the task to be carried out, preserving the ancient heritage. And now we deviate slightly from the local stories and look at the global perspective of the COVID-19 epidemic. Well, the global coronavirus cases now exceed 10.2 million and more than 505,000 people have died from this respiratory disease thus far. More than 5.5 million have recovered from the disease. At present, close to 25%, that's more than 125,000 of the deaths have been reported in the United States. The country in the next highest toll is Brazil, with more than 57,000, or about 1 in 9 of those infected. The number of confirmed COVID-19 cases in the U.S. surpassed 2.63 million, reaching 2,637,077 as at present. Meanwhile, the national death toll of COVID-19 has risen to over 128,000. New York remains the hardest hit state with 31,484 deaths. In the meantime, the U.S. authorities have decided to tighten the restrictions on the movement due to the escalation of the COVID-19 cases in the country. With more than 1.3 million registered cases of coronavirus and 57,659 deaths, Brazil has risen in the charts as a global hotspot for the pandemic, secondly only to the US, and also number of cases and fatalities. Brazil recorded 29,313 confirmed cases. India recorded the third highest COVID-19 cases in the world, recording 19,620 cases during the past 24 hours. India has recorded 548,318 cases as of today, a jump of nearly 100,000 cases in a week, in the world's fourth worst hit country after US, Brazil and Russia. The country's death toll has reached 16,475, while 321,723 patients have recovered from the disease. Meanwhile, Mexico recorded the highest number of COVID-19 related deaths, reporting 602 deaths during the past 24 hours.
Meanwhile, Australia recorded 78 new coronavirus cases today, the highest single-day rise since April. Of the new infections, 75 cases were reported from Melbourne's suburban hotspots. South Australia has also recorded 3 new imported cases, all of them travellers returning to Australia from India. Accordingly, Australia has reported more than 7,686 cases with 104 deaths, while 6,993 patients have recovered.
Australia reported its biggest jump in COVID-19 cases in 2 months on Monday. Its second most populated state, Victoria, said it's now weighing whether to reimpose social distancing limits. Victoria recorded 75 new cases within 24 hours. The state's Chief Health Minister, Brett Sutton, stressed those with symptoms should stay home.
If they've got symptoms, they shouldn't be going and visiting other people. They shouldn't be going out to any other setting, including work, because that's where we're seeing transmission at the moment. I think there's still an opportunity for that to turn around. But if it isn't, absolutely public health directions, a change in the law is something that we have to consider, because we have to do whatever is required to turn this around.
Victorian state officials last week deployed ambulances and mobile test centres to test more residents in 10 hotspot suburbs. But some locals declined the voluntary throat and nasal swab tests. Victoria is hoping a new saliva test, which is less intrusive, will encourage more people to get tested, even though it is slightly less accurate. Meanwhile, other states and territories have yet to report their latest numbers of infection. Despite the red flags and health warnings, Prime Minister Scott Morrison is calling for state borders to reopen and jumpstart the economy.
And I've been very consistent in advocating to all the premiers and chief ministers, regardless of what side of politics they come from, that it's important to get these borders open.
Australia's social distancing limits succeeded in slowing the spread of the virus, but they took a bite out of the economy. The country is heading into its first recession in 3 decades as unemployment hits 7%.
Well, that's a global roundup of the coronavirus. And now back home again, Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapakse met with Maldivian High Commissioner Omar Abdul Razak at Temple Trees today. Well, at the meeting, the High Commissioner stated that as the Maldives is to reopen on the 15th of July, Sri Lankan migrant workers deployed in the hotel industry will receive the opportunity to be deployed in their usual services. The Premier inquired into the details of expatriate Sri Lankan workers in the Maldives and stated that according to the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, around 15 to 20,000 migrant Sri Lankan workers are employed in the Maldives. The Premier extended his best wishes to the Maldives on the decision to reopen the country and expressed confidence that their tourist industry will be revived. Northern Provincial Councillor PSM Charles met with the Prime Minister at Temple Trees today. She discussed regarding the restoration of the day-to-day public life in the Northern Province after COVID-19 outbreak, and also regarding Indian fishing vessels illegally entering Sri Lankan waters.
President Gotabaya Rajapakse and Prime Minister Mahinda Rajapakse joined in a special screening of the film The Newspaper. The film was screened at Colombo yesterday. The newspaper has been co-directed by Sarath Kotalavalage and Kumara Thirimadurage and has been produced by Minister Dr. Bandula Gunawardena, Ravinda Guruge and H.D. Premasiri. The film will be screened in cinema halls across the island from the 2nd of July, and cinema goers will get the opportunity to watch the initial screening at 10:30 a.m. free of charge. Health sector staff supporting COVID-19 control measures, police and Triforce personnel and journalists can watch the film free of charge once upon producing their official identity cards. The chairman of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Professor G.L. Piri, states that after the 5th of August, the priority task of the new parliament will be to speedily make even the state mechanism that has been put into disarray by the 19th Amendment. He expressed these views at a media briefing held at the party headquarters today. Chairman of the Sri Lanka Podujana Peramuna, Professor G.L. Piri, stated that once the new parliament is convened after the 5th of August, many tasks need to be fulfilled. Professor Piri further stated that when the 19th Amendment was presented in Parliament, a large number of MPs were reluctant to support the bill. He called to mind that at that juncture, then President Maithripala Sirisena spoke in Parliament and made a pledge. Professor Piri said that then President stated in Parliament that doubts need not prevail with regard to the 19th Amendment, as he will be taking instant steps to rectify shortcomings, and that the 20th Amendment will be presented in Parliament within 2 weeks. Professor Piri also called to mind that then President Maithripala Sirisena stated that through the 20th Amendment, steps will be taken to rectify all faulty and contradictory areas of the electoral system. Professor G.L. Piri pointed out that even after 5 years, the promised changes have not been effected. He added that under a new government run by his party, this process will be speedily implemented and instant steps will be taken to resolve the crisis in the state mechanism.
A media briefing was held at the UNP headquarters today. Election campaigning of the United National Party officially commenced yesterday. Well, addressing the media briefing, former parliamentarian Panitha Rangibandara noted that yesterday, within just 30 minutes, the party was able to conduct 100 meetings deploying modern technology as the party is being led by an intelligent leader. The former MP also noted that in the meantime, breakaway factions are stating that they will be holding 1,000 meetings as part of their election propaganda campaigns. Former MP Rangibandara pointed out that UNP leader Ranil Wickremesinghe, within just half an hour, covered the entire country through 100 meetings. The former MP highlighted that this is the difference between UNP and the breakaway factions. Former MP Rangibandara further stated that an individual who came for the mayor's job is attempting to assume the role of party leader and prime minister. Former MP Panitha Rangibandara acknowledged that they made an error. And the error was, quote, going with the trend and nominating the presidential candidate who was more suitable to be just a mayoral candidate. Well, on that encouraging note, it's time to end the news. Do enjoy the rest of the programs. Take care and good night.